Welcome to Paranormal Files. I'm your host, Paige Carter. An elderly woman in a small rural town in Virginia had always been known for her peculiar ability to perceive that which others could not. One evening, as she sat in her favorite rocking chair by the window, she felt a sudden chill creep over her. She felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up, an inexplicable sense of dread seeping into her very bones. Then, she heard it. A voice. A soft, whispering voice, seemingly coming out of nowhere. "Elizabeth," it said, her name floating on the wind, as though carried from some far-off place. She looked around, but she was alone. Alone, except for the voice. She could not see it, but she could feel it. A presence. A consciousness, unbound by physical form. This was not the first time Elizabeth had experienced such an event. Throughout her life, she had heard stories, voices, and felt presences that no one else could sense. But this was different. This voice, this presence, it was familiar. It was her late husband, Robert, who had passed away several years prior. What Elizabeth experienced is not unique. Throughout history, countless individuals have reported similar encounters, instances where the consciousness of a deceased loved one seems to linger, unattached to any physical form. But what if these accounts are not merely tales spun by the human mind, caught in the throes of grief and longing? What if these experiences are more than just ghost stories? Enter biocentrism, a theory that challenges our traditional understanding of consciousness and reality. It posits that life and consciousness are fundamental to the nature of the universe, not just incidental byproducts of physical processes. If this is true, could it be possible that what we perceive as ghosts are simply consciousnesses that have lost their physical forms? Biocentrism suggests that our understanding of death, too, might be flawed. According to this theory, death is not the end of consciousness. Instead, it could be merely a transition, a shift from one state of existence to another. Could it be that what we understand as ghosts are simply these transitioning consciousnesses, still tethered to our realm of existence, perhaps by bonds of love, unresolved issues, or even sheer will? Elizabeth was sure that the voice she heard that night, that presence she felt, was her husband. She could feel his consciousness, his essence, as real and palpable as anything physical. Her experience, and countless others like it, raise questions about the nature of consciousness and its relationship with physical form. They provide glimpses into the possibilities beyond our current understanding and challenge us to reimagine what we perceive as reality. As we delve deeper into the realms of biocentrism and the paranormal, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of a new understanding, teetering between fear and awe, between what we know and the vast unknown. The origins of ghost stories and encounters with spirits transcend cultures and time, echoing through the annals of human history. These spectral tales and accounts of phantasmal encounters can be traced back to ancient cultures, from the ancient Egyptians who believed in Ka, a spirit double living in every human, to the ancestral spirits in Aboriginal Australian mythology. As early as the 5th century BC, the concept of spirits and an afterlife was prevalent in ancient Greece. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus, known for his doctrine of change being central to the universe, proposed the existence of psyche, or souls, that existed after death. These souls, he suggested, were composed of a finer substance than ordinary matter. This belief, that there existed an ethereal essence that survived physical death, can be seen as an early precursor to both the concept of ghosts and to the modern theory of biocentrism. In the 19th century, during the height of the spiritualism movement, there was an increased interest in the afterlife and communication with spirits. Seances, mediums, and spirit photography became popular as people sought to connect with departed loved ones. Many of these spiritualists believed that the soul was an entity separate from the body, and that it continued its existence after death. Undeniably, one of the most compelling early accounts of spectral phenomena comes from the infamous Borley Rectory, often dubbed the most haunted house in England. First built in 1863, the rectory quickly gained notoriety through tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplainable footsteps, and chilling messages appearing on walls. The activity seemed to peak in the 1930s when the Foister family lived there, and the rectory became the focus of an investigation by famed paranormal researcher Harry Price. His extensive documentation of the strange occurrences at Borley Rectory fueled public fascination with the supernatural and gave a measure of credibility to accounts of ghostly encounters. These historical accounts, ancient Greek philosophies, 19th-century spiritualism, and documented hauntings like that at Borley Rectory have all contributed to our understanding and interpretation of what we perceive as ghosts. They have shaped societal and cultural beliefs about the possibility of an existence beyond physical death, an existence where consciousness continues in a different form. Parallel to these evolving beliefs about life after death, the scientific community has grappled with understanding the nature of consciousness. The theory of biocentrism, initially proposed by Robert Lanza in the 21st century, represents a significant leap in this ongoing quest. It suggests that life and consciousness are not merely products of the universe, but rather integral components of it. If we accept this premise, then the line between life and death, between physical existence and spiritual essence, becomes blurred. It opens up the possibility of understanding ghosts not as figments of imagination, but as consciousnesses transitioning between different states of existence. Among the most notable champions of biocentrism is Dr. Robert Lanza, an American medical doctor, scientist, and current Chief Scientific Officer of Advanced Cell Technology, Inc. His groundbreaking work in stem cells and regenerative medicine has earned him recognition in academia. However, it is his contribution to the field of theoretical physics with the proposition of biocentrism that truly sets him apart. Lanza's biocentric universe breaks away from traditional physics, which views the universe as an independent entity that would still persist even if life were to cease. Instead, Lanza posits that the universe and everything it contains are intertwined with life and consciousness. This concept suggests that without a living, conscious observer, the universe would cease to exist in the way we understand it. Supporting Lanza's theory is quantum physicist Dr. Amit Goswami. A retired professor from the University of Oregon's Institute for Theoretical Physics, Goswami has devoted his research to the concept of quantum consciousness. He suggests that consciousness, not matter, is the fundamental essence of the universe. This view aligns with biocentrism and further challenges conventional scientific wisdom. Parallel to these scientific explorations are first-hand accounts from individuals who claim to have interacted with spirits. Mediums like Lisa Williams and John Edward have made careers out of purportedly communicating with the deceased. They assert that the consciousness of individuals persists after death, albeit in a different form, a concept that aligns with the biocentric view of life and consciousness. Then there are those who have experienced near-death occurrences, like Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon who detailed his own near-death experience in his book, Proof of Heaven. Alexander's account of traversing a spiritual realm during a coma caused by severe meningitis has added another layer to the discussion about consciousness and its survival beyond physical death. Last but not least, investigators like Harry Price, whose rigorous documentation of the Borley Rectory phenomena brought the concept of ghosts into the public eye, have lent credibility to the existence of spirits. Price's work, along with countless stories of ghostly encounters, suggests that consciousness may indeed persist beyond physical demise, manifesting in ways we perceive as spectral phenomena. Each of these individuals, from scientists challenging the traditional view of the universe to mediums communicating with the deceased, contributes to the growing body of evidence that suggests consciousness might not be limited to our physical existence, but might endure in a different form, a form we identify as ghosts. In the world of the paranormal, there are countless accounts of inexplicable happenings that defy scientific understanding, yet resonate deeply with the concept of biocentrism. These reports often center on sightings, sounds, and physical disturbances that hint at the presence of unseen entities, and are frequently accompanied by psychic experiences that further challenge our perception of reality. Consider the numerous accounts of ghost sightings, where individuals report seeing apparitions that appear human-like but are transparent or ethereal. These apparitions often bear a striking resemblance to deceased individuals, suggesting a continuation of their consciousness. They are seen in various states, standing, walking, or even engaging in activities they were known for when alive. Then, there's the phenomenon of auditory manifestations, from unexplained knocks and bangs to disembodied voices. People have reported hearing their names being called when they're alone, or the sound of footsteps on empty staircases. Some have even claimed to capture electronic voice phenomena on recording devices, where voices presumably from the other side are heard speaking words or phrases, often directly related to the people present or the location itself. Physical disturbances are another frequently cited form of evidence for the paranormal. Objects move of their own accord, doors slam shut without any visible force, and lights flicker inexplicably. Some occurrences are more dramatic, with reports of poltergeist activity, where items are violently thrown around rooms or people are inexplicably shoved or scratched. In addition to these manifestations, some people claim to experience psychic phenomena in the presence of spirits. They describe feeling sudden shifts in temperature, intense emotions, or a sense of being watched. Mediums report receiving messages from spirits, often with detailed knowledge about the deceased individual's life that they couldn't possibly know by conventional means. Each of these incidents underscores the limitations of our current understanding of reality. They suggest that consciousness may not be confined to our physical bodies, but instead may continue in a form we perceive as spectral phenomena. These experiences, though inexplicable within the framework of conventional science, align remarkably well with the principles of biocentrism. They suggest that consciousness is not extinguished with physical death, but continues to exist, just in a form that's less tangible, yet perceivable under certain circumstances. This leads us to one compelling question. Could these paranormal events be manifestations of consciousness persisting beyond the physical realm? Could what we interpret as ghosts be simply consciousness unfettered by a corporeal form? As we venture deeper into the realms of biocentrism and the paranormal, it's crucial to acknowledge the scientific skepticism that challenges these narratives. Experts and skeptics often attempt to explain these phenomena using rational or physical theories, some of which have gained considerable traction. One such theory is the idea of infrasounds, sound waves with frequencies below the lower limit of human audibility. Scientists have proposed that these low-frequency vibrations, which can be produced by various natural and man-made sources, may be behind some ghostly encounters. Infrasounds can cause feelings of unease, anxiety, and even terror, along with physical symptoms such as shivering and goosebumps. These effects can make a person feel as though there is an unseen entity in the room. However, this theory falls short in explaining the specific details of many ghostly encounters. Infrasounds may induce a general feeling of unease, but they cannot account for the intricate narratives and personal messages that mediums claim to receive from spirits. The theory also fails to explain the physical phenomena often associated with hauntings, such as moving objects or flickering lights. Another scientific theory put forward is that of hallucinations induced by altered states of consciousness. These altered states can be brought on by a variety of factors, including sleep deprivation, isolation, or the ingestion of certain substances. Under these conditions, the brain may generate vivid, realistic hallucinations that can be mistaken for ghostly encounters. Yet again, this theory comes up short. It neglects to account for the shared experiences reported by multiple witnesses. These collective encounters, wherein several individuals simultaneously perceive the same ghostly presence, cannot be readily dismissed as mere hallucinations. Lastly, the concept of electromagnetic fields has been proposed as a possible explanation. Some researchers suggest that high levels of electromagnetic fields can trigger hallucinations or feelings of a presence. This theory has some merit, given that many reported haunted sites have unusually high electromagnetic readings. However, it fails to explain why only certain individuals are affected, and why these experiences often involve detailed, personalized messages or interactions that go beyond a mere sense of presence. Each of these scientific theories, though compelling, ultimately fails to fully account for the breadth and complexity of ghostly phenomena. They offer fragments of understanding, but are unable to piece together the complete puzzle. This leaves us in a peculiar place, where traditional scientific inquiry cannot provide comprehensive answers, and yet the experiences and accounts persist, suggesting that something beyond our current understanding is at play. Could it be that these experiences represent a form of consciousness that exists beyond our physical realm, as biocentrism proposes? The mystery continues to unfold. The human mind has a unique and potent ability to shape our perceptions and experiences. Fear, belief, and cultural conditioning play a profound role in influencing how we interpret and respond to unexplainable phenomena such as ghosts. These elements ignite the imagination, turning the shadows in the corner of our eyes into specters and the rustle of leaves into spectral whispers. From the earliest civilizations to the modern era, ghostly apparitions have been a common thread in folklore and mythology across cultures. These tales often served to explain the unexplained, quell existential fears, or enforce societal norms. Ghost stories proliferated in societies where death was a prominent part of life due to disease, conflict, or harsh living conditions. These narratives provided a framework for understanding death and the concept of an afterlife, giving people hope that there was something beyond the finality of mortal existence. In many cultures, ghosts are seen as the spirits of the deceased, trapped between the physical and spiritual worlds due to unresolved issues or sudden, untimely death. The need to explain these apparitions and the fear they generate is universal. In Japan, the yurei are vengeful spirits tethered to the earthly plane by emotions such as rage or sorrow. In Western cultures, ghosts are often depicted as lost souls seeking justice or delivering foreboding messages. These patterns of belief, while varying in detail, reveal a shared human desire to understand what happens after we die. The fear element is just as intrinsic in these narratives. Fear, after all, is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. It is a response to perceived danger, and nothing signifies danger more than the unknown. Ghosts embody this unknown. They symbolize the mysteries that lie beyond the reach of human comprehension, the enigma of death, the afterlife, and the existence of a non-physical consciousness. This fear is amplified by the influence of mass media and popular culture. Horror films, novels, and television shows often portray spirits as malevolent entities, further ingraining fear and projecting a particular image of what a ghost is supposed to look like or act like. However, it's crucial to remember that these cultural and psychological interpretations are not definitive explanations for the existence of ghosts. They serve to illustrate how deeply ingrained the concept is in our collective psyche and how it continues to be shaped by our fears and beliefs. While these interpretations provide insight into our perceptions of ghosts, they do not necessarily dictate the reality of these phenomena. The profound personal experiences of those who've encountered what they believe to be spirits suggest a phenomenon that is more complex and nuanced than can be encapsulated by folklore or explained away by fear. Could it be that biocentrism offers a more holistic understanding of these phenomena? Could these experiences truly be manifestations of consciousness existing beyond our physical realm? The quest for understanding continues, as does our fascination with the spectral world. The metaphysical and spiritual lenses offer alternative perspectives on the ghostly phenomena, often focusing more on the nuances of consciousness, energy, and interdimensional existence. These perspectives attempt to go beyond the fear-based narratives to explore the deeper implications of spirits and apparitions. One such perspective posits ghosts as conscious energy imprints. As per this view, every action, thought, or emotion we produce carries a certain energy. This energy, when potent enough, can imprint itself onto the environment, much like a footprint in soft sand. When conditions are right, these imprints can be perceived as ghostly apparitions or unusual phenomena. This theory suggests that what we perceive as ghosts may not be conscious entities at all, but residual energy patterns left behind by previous occupants. This can explain why some apparitions seem to repeat the same actions, or why certain locations are more haunted than others, places where the energy imprint is particularly strong. A related perspective is the theory of interdimensional beings. This view suggests that ghosts are not spirits of the deceased, but rather conscious entities from other dimensions intersecting with our reality. To support this theory, proponents point to the often bewildering and physics-defying behavior of apparitions. They argue that these entities operate under different laws of reality, hence the seeming impossibilities. Interdimensional theory dovetails with the multiverse concept in theoretical physics, which posits potentially infinite parallel universes, each with its own set of rules and realities. Could we be witnessing the overlap of these realities through our encounters with the spectral? Yet another theory is the belief in ghosts as earthbound spirits, souls that, for reasons of trauma, unfinished business, or emotional attachment, are unable to transition to the next plane of existence. This perspective resonates with various religious and spiritual traditions and offers a more personal and empathetic understanding of spectral phenomena. In the end, these theories are not mutually exclusive and could all offer pieces to the puzzle. The diversity of ghostly encounters, after all, may hint at multiple explanations. These metaphysical viewpoints all align with the biocentric perspective, suggesting that consciousness could indeed exist beyond the physical, manifesting in forms we perceive as spiritual or spectral. This understanding opens the door to a deeper exploration of consciousness, its potentials, and its mysteries, blurring the lines between the living and the dead, the physical and the ethereal. As the 21st century unfolds, our understanding and experience of the spectral realm continue to evolve. New technologies, methods, and theories are being developed, pushing the boundaries of what we perceive as possible and adding new layers to our comprehension of the ghostly and the ethereal. In recent years, there has been a surge in reported paranormal activity, renewing interest in spectral phenomena. This resurgence has been aided by the advent of digital technology, which has given rise to a variety of devices designed to document and analyze ghostly activity. One such device is the electronic voice phenomenon, EVP recorder. This device captures sounds beyond the range of human hearing, often producing unexplained voices or messages when played back. For many, these voices provide a tangible link to the other side, reinforcing the belief that consciousness persists beyond the physical. Equally compelling are the technological advancements in infrared technology and full-spectrum cameras. These devices are designed to capture images beyond the visible light spectrum, often revealing anomalies unperceivable to the naked eye. Unexplained orbs, shadow figures, and even full-bodied apparitions have been reported, further blurring the boundary between the physical and the ethereal. Some investigators have sought to bridge the gap between the scientific and the spiritual through the use of quantum field theory, an area of physics that describes the behavior of particles on a subatomic level. They propose that if ghosts are indeed manifestations of consciousness, they might be detectable as energy fluctuations in the quantum field. Parallel to these technological pursuits, spiritual practices are also gaining momentum. Mediumship, once regarded with skepticism, is now being studied under the lens of science, with researchers exploring the possibility of telepathy and the survival of consciousness after death. In addition, the exploration of altered states of consciousness, through practices such as meditation and shamanic journeying, has offered a different perspective on the spectral realm. In these states, many report encounters with discarnate entities, supporting the belief in earthbound spirits and interdimensional beings. This amalgamation of technology, science, and spiritual practices paints a multifaceted picture of our ongoing interaction with the spectral realm. It suggests a universe rich with complexity and mystery, where consciousness is not confined to the physical body, but can exist in forms we are only just beginning to understand. It is a universe where the living and the dead, the seen and the unseen, the material and the ethereal, are intricately intertwined, challenging us to expand our perceptions and delve deeper into the unexplained. And yet, there are those who take these ideas even further, their theories teetering on the edge of the imaginable. These are the fringe theorists, the ones whose ideas often raise more questions than they answer. While their theories may at first glance seem outlandish, they are rooted in the same question that has sparked our exploration of biocentrism and the afterlife. What if consciousness isn't confined to the physical body, or even to our linear perception of time and space? One of the most controversial theories involves government experiments, particularly those related to Project Stargate. This covert operation, run by the United States government from the 1970s until its declassification in the 1990s, explored the potential of psychic phenomena for military and domestic intelligence purposes. Among their areas of study was remote viewing, a form of clairvoyance where a viewer could describe a distant or unseen target using extrasensory perception. The implications of these experiments are unsettling. If governments have been harnessing psychic abilities for espionage, might they also be capable of interacting with discarnate consciousness? Could they potentially use these abilities to communicate with, or even control, entities in the spectral realm? Another theory that has gained traction is that of time slips, a phenomenon where individuals or groups allegedly experience a brief period where they are transported to a different point in time. Time slips challenge our understanding of time, suggesting not only the possibility of time travel, but also the idea that consciousness might exist outside our linear perception of time. If true, this could lend credence to theories of reincarnation or past life memories, further complicating our understanding of consciousness and the afterlife. Then there is the theory of portals, invisible doorways to other planes of existence. These interdimensional gateways are often associated with locations known for high paranormal activity. Could these portals be bridges between our physical realm and the spectral one, allowing entities to move between them freely? Finally, there is the notion of non-human intelligences, entities that exist outside the purview of our physical reality. From ancient folklore to modern UFO encounters, there are countless accounts of beings from other dimensions or extraterrestrial civilizations. Could these beings be a form of discarnate consciousness, or do they offer a completely different perspective on what consciousness can be? Each of these theories, while controversial, broadens the scope of our inquiry, forcing us to question not only what consciousness is, but where it resides and how it interacts with the physical and spectral realms. They remind us that the exploration of biocentrism and the afterlife is not just about understanding death, but also about redefining what it means to be alive. In the silence of the night, the veil between the living and the departed appears to thin, opening the door to questions that push at the boundaries of human comprehension. Despite the leaps of science and the courageous strides of philosophy, the question of consciousness and its potential existence beyond the physical form remains shrouded in mystery. Biocentrism and the idea of consciousness without form, of spirits, of specters, of ghosts, asks us to consider the unthinkable, It forces us to confront our own mortality and the possibility of an existence beyond the physical realm. The stories and theories we have discussed paint a picture of a reality far more complex and mysterious than we could have ever imagined, one in which the boundaries between life and death, between the physical and the spectral, may not be as rigid as we once believed. Yet, for all the theories and stories, for all the scientific experiments and spiritual explorations, the truth remains elusive. Can consciousness exist without a physical form? Are what we perceive as ghosts merely echoes of a consciousness that once was, or are they manifestations of a consciousness that still is, existing in a plane beyond our physical reality? The uncertainties that surround these questions are at once unsettling and intriguing. They compel us to reconsider our understanding of reality and our place within it. They push us to question the very nature of our existence and to seek answers beyond the realm of the physical, beyond what is visible and tangible. Though we have delved deep into the mysteries of biocentrism and the spectral realm, the journey is far from over. The unknown, it seems, is unending. The spectral realm continues to beckon, daring us to venture further, to seek answers to questions that have haunted humanity since the dawn of consciousness. Yet, the spectral realm remains shrouded in enigma, its secrets held tightly against the prying eyes of the living. We stand at the threshold of the unknown, peering into the abyss of mystery, grappling with the unexplained and the unresolved. The uncharted territory of the spectral realm remains a frontier yet to be fully explored. So we are left with an echo, a whisper of the unknown, a question that lingers long after the stories have been told and the theories have been discussed. What truly happened here? And could it happen again? As we journey through the labyrinth of consciousness and mystery, we are left with a chilling reminder of the enigmatic nature of existence. We are but spectators in the grand theater of the cosmos, ever in search of understanding, ever in awe of the unknown. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Paranormal Files. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, gain access to bonus content, and unlock our full library of podcasts, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.